Welcome to the How to Adult podcast, where we learn all things adulting. My name is Travis Walker, and I will be your host. Today's topic is all about mastering your mindset. And wow, we've got an incredible show. So get excited and buckle up because we're about to learn how to adult together. We are back for another episode of the How to Adult podcast, and we've got a good friend of mine, Jonathan Alba, here, and we are here to talk about mastering our mindset. Throughout my younger 20s, I'm almost 27. Can you believe that? But throughout my younger 20s, I've been trying to get to a place where I have a good handle on my mindset, and the more I'm going through my 20s, I'm finding that mastering your mindset is a key to kind of really moving forward. And I think that Jonathan's going to share a lot of things that will allow us to better master our mindset. So, Jonathan, thank you for being here today, man.
It's great to be here. And your mustache gives you the air of your 30s. So it's surprising to hear that you're 27.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Very good.
Yes.
So, Jonathan, can you give us kind of a brief background and maybe why I decided to bring you on to talk about mastering your mindset? What is your background?
My background is in communication. So that's what I studied in college.
Yeah.
So I got two fancy degrees in communication studies with an emphasis on rhetoric and how we talk to people. From there, I went on to research cognitive psychology. So I had an inkling that there was something more going on in our minds when we communicate with folks. There's just something missing. And
Yeah.
so I discovered this book while I was literally studying communication studies and working at UT Austin called Smart Thinking. And that was by a cognitive psychologist named Art Markman, who then I went on to work with, surprisingly. So
Wow.
from communication, cognitive psychology, which is really how we use our minds. And then as I started to research, I got more involved with entrepreneurship training and entrepreneurs. And really, the core shift that one makes when they're becoming an entrepreneur, starting a new venture, is their mind. So I was working with a lot of scientists and teaching them entrepreneurship. How do you coach someone who's been a hardcore academic and scientist to start taking risks, getting out there, talking to customers? So mindset has always been a prominent focus in my life. And then from academia, I left to basically rebuild a private company and grow
Wow.
that. So, and part of the reason I was hired to do that was because of my background in communication and cognitive psychology. Because we help people make some of the toughest decisions in their life. We were involved in risk management and public safety. So, and on top of that, we've talked about, Travis, you and I, meditation, all the tools to get out there and start building your own business or doing your own thing. So mindset's something that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. And can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now? We came to know each other through a project that you're working on, and so can you tell us about kind of what your current venture?
Yeah, started a management company. So I represent top talent, speakers, authors, scientists who mainly focus on mental health. So
Wow.
they're mental health advocates or self-help executive coaches and really help them shape their business, build their brand. Most are really, really skilled at what they do, and they just want to do that, whether it's speaking or serving or working with clients. And they bring me in to negotiate deals on their behalf, help them with sales and marketing, and then bring in resources to help them manage their business, whether that's finances or operations. And a lot of my work is on mindset.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Absolutely. And we're going to definitely have a business lens that we look through in mastering our mindset, but I think we're going to have a lot of conversations that's going to be beneficial to anyone. And so when you think about the term that I threw out at the beginning, which is mastering your mindset, what does that mean to you? And I think that's also kind of a popular term in content right now, mastering your mindset. But what does that mean to you?
Master your mindset, master your beliefs. Yeah, look it up on TikTok, Instagram. There's one more thing that I'll mention that's relevant. I also work with
Yeah.
teachers
Oh
in
wow.
a in a alternative learning center here in Austin. And so we work a lot on communication and mindset. So it's also outside of business. And I'm working with students too. It's teaching me a lot about mindset. So what does master your mindset mean? It means being aware of your beliefs. Like, where is my mind going? What am I thinking right now? How do I bring my attention back to the present moment and focus on the person in front of me, the task at hand? So mastering one's mind is literally impossible.
Yeah.
There's been a handful of people that have done it. They've written some pretty mythological books and stories about them. So it's a daily practice, and it's the practice that I'll be pursuing for the rest of my life. Um, Funny thing for me, as we talk
Yeah.
about this, is one of my goals this year was to befriend my mind or master my mind. And
Wow.
I don't even know how to operationalize that, smart goal it. Like, I don't even know if it's possible. But basically, to come back to it, for me, mastering my mind means being aware of my thoughts. How do I want to show up in interactions? And then, more importantly, how do I link my thoughts with my emotions? Because they're interconnected. So, mastering my mind, in a sense, is mastering my emotions. So, I work a
Yeah.
lot currently with myself and with others and how to do that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. As you speak and you bring up the word, present, bringing your mind to the present, it reminds me of something that I saw somewhere, bringing in kind of a mental health aspect to this. Depression is your mind being in the past, and anxiety is your mind being in the future. And so I think it's interesting that you bring up bringing your mind to the present in the sense of mental health angle to this conversation. What does that make you think of? How do you respond to that?
yeah, depression, I've heard that thing in the past. I also agree anxiety comes from worrying about the future. What do I think about that? It comes back to where are our thoughts going?
Yeah,
So it reminds me of students, like the kids. So I've been put in front of sixth, seventh, and eighth graders and some high school
yeah,
students, and I get to see where their mind's at, and I see the literal struggle. So we talk about mastering our minds, what's out there on TikTok, Instagram, these reels that kids are watching,
yeah,
and yet they don't know how to do it. So I'm interacting on a daily basis, well, not a daily basis, once a week with students who are teachers who are like hopeless. Some are
yeah.
depressed, products of their environment. So what it makes me think about is we need new tools and a new approach to teaching these skills because it starts at a young age.
Right.
I know for me, I didn't have that when I was in sixth, seventh, eighth grade or in high school. So what it makes me think about is how do we start to teach this at a younger age so that folks are better equipped to deal with the challenges of modern day life that we face on a daily basis.
Definitely, definitely, and thinking about the kids and learning this at a younger age, it brings my mind to the potentiality in terms of what do you think unlocks when you're moving toward mastering your mindset or having a better grasp on your mindset? What do you think unlocks for you as an individual?
We unlock the ability to change. We can change our personality, we can change our circumstances. It changes everything once we understand how the mind works, how much our thoughts influence our behavior, and then how much of our thoughts and our beliefs are rooted in things we got from our family, our friends, our social environment growing up. It unlocks the ability to transform one's life. It sounds so simple, yet it takes some people many, many, many years, myself included, a whole lifetime. And
Right,
so unlocking the mind is unlocking everything because our thoughts control our emotions. We change our thoughts, we change our emotions. We change our emotions, we change our habits. We change our habits, we change our lives. So it's a really powerful, powerful tool that I come back to every day. I mean, it's a daily practice. I mean, how has your mindset changed over the years?
yeah, I think it's changed immensely in the sense of even kind of my goals. As my mindset changes, my goals change. And as my life progresses, my goals and my mindset changes. I mean, right it last July, I decided that health is really, really important to me. And I changed my habits and it changed my life into, okay, well, now I'm a person that wakes up at 4:30 and does CrossFit every morning at 5 a.m. And so it,
Nice. Get it, Travis.
thank you. And so I just use that as an example is that that my mindset changing into I want to be a healthy person change the person that I am.
Mm.
And so kind of bringing the change word into from your response into kind of the actuality of putting into practice. That's how it an example of how it has had an impact in my life.
I just got back to waking up at 5 a.m. 2 days ago because
Nice.
I was in a yoga class. Shout out to Erica Kay at Black Swan Yoga,
Yes.
a phenomenal yoga teacher, phenomenal. Because it's really about her class is about shifting our mindset and our beliefs. And her class on Friday was about if you're honest, if you're going on a spiritual journey, you can't do it. It's a Ram Dass quote. You can't do it without leaving safety. Basically, you need to take a risk. And she was talking about how she sets her alarm for 5 a.m. and gets up no matter what.
Wow.
She has to get out of the cocoon because she's tired of being safe. And for like 2 months, Travis, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. religiously, get up, meditate, write, and I have been slacking off for the last 2 months, getting up at 7 here, 9 there, doing my
Yeah.
own thing. I set my own schedule. And that little reminder shifted my entire mindset. Screw this, enough of this, Jonathan. It's time to get back to it. So the last 2 days, 5 a.m. wasn't perfect. This morning I got up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
meditation, writing, but it's that little shit. Like it can be so subtle that someone says something to us and our mind just shifts. And so I try to surround myself. I don't try, I do surround myself now with people like that. I seek it out. People that are gonna shift my mind, help me master my mindset, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, and I think something that we're nudging to in this conversation is discipline. And how do you think discipline plays a role in this pursuit of mastering our mindset?
Plays a big role.
Yeah,
Discipline is something that I've had a troubled relationship with, and I would
me as
encourage.
well.
Yeah, we rebel against it when it's imposed upon us.
Right.
So do a lot of work within communication and nonviolent communication, and there's a concept of the difference between a request and a demand.
Hmm.
And so when we're demanded something, we have really two options: we can submit or we can rebel.
Okay.
And so discipline was kind of demanded on me as a kid. I grew up with a military father, Vietnam vet, who was very disciplined.
Sure.
Woke
Yeah.
up every day 5 a.m., worked his butt off and came home and was spent. The discipline, like I watched how disciplined he was. He was unable to kind of communicate the importance of that to me. So I got to observe his behavior. And so that's what I thought discipline was waking up, going to work, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like he would clean the toilet with a toothbrush, like that style of discipline. The bed was made with the army style, like it's impressive. Like
Yeah.
his sheets were always like it was just super super disciplined. So I had this picture in my mind. That's what discipline is:
Okay.
crystal clean, everything on time. Like point being, discipline for my life looks a little different. So discipline for me is waking up and meditating every day or writing or making the sales outreach that I need to do or making the phone call to the friend. Like I'm actually a really disciplined person.
Yeah.
And for years, I believed that I wasn't because I wasn't like my father, who I watched growing up, who was the epitome of discipline to me. So
Right.
discipline plays a huge role. So when working with people, we need to figure out together like what are the tasks or the things that you want to build into your life that are going to give you the results that you want. And then it's can you be disciplined on doing them day after day? And when I don't do them, I need to examine them and ask myself, why am I not doing them? Why am I rebelling against these, tasks that give me the outcome that I want? Do I need to change them? So long-winded response of discipline is a super, super, super important part of mastering one's mind.
Yeah, yeah. I think another piece at the end of your response there is the idea of self-reflection, and I think that a lot of people that talk about mindset, they talk about mastering your morning routine, and and a lot of that has essence of reflection or planning. And so how do you kind of approach self-reflection, and do you believe that that plays a role in mastering your mindset? Is reflection a key piece of this?
Yes,
Yeah.
it might be the key piece, the ability to reflect and make incremental changes day to day. So, at night, asking oneself what went well today, what do I
Yeah.
want to do differently tomorrow? The ability to ask certain questions to get a key piece of information to make an incremental change the next day. Had a good mentor, former mentor, tell me, like, how am I going to get my inch today? So that's the question one could ask themselves, and then reflect on how that went at the end of the day. Also, in the morning, like reflecting on just how one feels when one wakes up. It can be simple too. There's a people's morning routines to some extent have gotten overblown. You need to find what works for you.
Right.
Some of them are extendedly long, and again, it's people have gone through. What I've learned is people have gone through different things in life. They've experienced different childhood traumas, environments, and so some people's like nervous system when they wake up is super activated, and it might take them a little bit longer to ease into the day or to get a hold of their mind. So I'm all for developing routines that work. A couple things on the reflection piece though is for me is just waking up and trying to get into gratitude as quickly as possible. A morning routine can just literally look as simple as saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for another day, or I'm grateful
Yeah.
for these three things. So reflection's key, and all parts of the day, especially in the evening.
Right, right. What? So you want to get to gratitude as quickly as possible. Why? Why is gratitude the destination?
The attitude of gratitude, because for years I was angry at the world, and
Okay.
oftentimes when I wake up, the thoughts are not pretty.
Yeah.
Ah, crap, another day, I gotta go do XYZ, and that starts keeping with that thinking starts me on a path that leads me not to where I want to go. So the subtle shift of just getting into gratitude as quickly as possible changes the course of my entire day.
Yeah.
We were literally working on this with high schoolers the other day, focusing on an attitude of gratitude, because most of them are in really challenging environments. They go home and there might not be a lot of love in their house. They're in neighborhoods where there's violence, drug dealing. Many of them have used violence as a way to cope with their emotions, mainly anger. So the
Right.
quickest way that I've found to get out of that, and copious amounts of research that support it, is gratitude. And it's simple. Oftentimes when I call a friend, I used to hate this question. And I go, oh, you wouldn't believe what happened to me. And I start going down the river of self-pity. Can all be stopped with one simple question. Jonathan, what are you grateful for today? I used to hate that question, Travis. And then once I stop and I can start to create that list, it changes my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Super,
awesome.
super, super important. I used to think it was so hokey, it wouldn't work. I've seen it transform my life literally in the matter of a morning, shifting into gratitude, and just all these crazy opportunities and synchronicities start occurring just from the simple practice of listing 10 things that I'm grateful for. Or if you want a super bonus star, list 20. It's really freaking hard.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I'm gonna have to challenge myself to that. So we've kind of naturally gone into a place of some actual strategies to moving into a place of grasping um, the mindset. And so, what are some ways that we can, or what are some strategies that we can utilize to move in that direction of mastering our mindset?
One is to set goals. Talked a
Yeah.
little bit about goal setting. And be careful what kind of goals you set. I know there's a lot. A
Yeah.
lot of information out there on goal setting. One of the things that's helped me over the years is to refine my goal setting. While I do have ambitious goals, they're called learning goals.
Okay.
So, what does someone want to learn?
Oh,
An
wow.
example would be, I want to earn $5 million. And shift that to, I want to learn how to earn $5 million. Or
Okay.
I want to run a business. I want to learn how to run a business. Shifts our attention a little bit, shifts our focus. It also shifts our mind, that
Yeah.
it's a process. A lot of mindset training or shifts are about getting in the process and learning the process and being comfortable iterating, learning, trying, failing,
Yeah.
getting up and trying again. So, one tool is to be careful, mindful of how we set our goals and ensuring that we've got 3 to 5 learning goals. I want to learn how to be a healthier person. I want to learn how to develop a morning routine. There's a lot of folks, literature that talks about, stating goals in the present tense, like I am a millionaire or I am whatever that is. Those are fine. They've worked for me. I also now incorporate a lot of learning goals because it helps me with literally my mind feeling better about myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another,
I've learned from a few people that making it an identity statement is helpful as well in terms of even the example I used earlier. I'm a person that wakes up at 4:30 in the morning to work out before my day starts. It's not I have the goal to work out every day, which is a fine goal to have, but I'm a person that works out every day, and then making that a true statement. And there's a key of competition in there, and I don't want to make myself a liar. Uh,
yeah,
but I think that's been a helpful piece for me as well.
one of the most powerful phrases in the English language, if not the most powerful, according to me and some of my mentors, is I am, the phrase
Yeah,
I am, and being very careful of what we attach after that phrase.
that's pretty good. I like that a lot. And in terms of this goal setting conversation that we're having, there are different people that have different ideas in terms of the time. All right, some people want to say goals should be a year. A key content creator that I listen to is Brandon Turner, and he really believes in the 90-day structure. And so, do you have any thoughts on kind of the time that it takes, or that you should frame your goals?
I would say that life is an experiment.
Okay.
So try out when I'm working with business owners or people that are just starting their business, we do 30, 60, 90,
Yeah.
and mostly focusing on 90. And I'm just trying to get a sense of, can they hit their goals? Or maybe not even try, can they hit their goals? Can they move towards them?
Yeah.
So 30, 60, 90 is a good frame. I also like visioning out 1, 3, and 5 years, more so in a vision boarding or PowerPoint slide format, and just starting to capture images of things that I'm moving towards. So most of the time, people's goals are too small, myself included. So yeah, goal setting is an interesting one. I like it. I like it in a 90-day format, and I'm more so concerned with the I am statements in my life right now. Like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? The goal setting is almost that just comes as a natural process of changing who I am.
Right. So what is a current I am statement that you're working on?
I'm kind and generous and compassionate. The fun one is I am a mogul.
Okay.
So waking up from a meditation with that thought, what does a mogul do? Mogul's direct, confident. It's also kind and generous and curious. We have these or I had these misconceptions that it's ruthless and cutthroat. I'm a business owner, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I was working on that one for quite a while.
Yeah.
I'm a committed and faithful partner. I'm an open and loving partner. So it's working on statements like that and baking them into my mind and then becoming them.
Wow. Wow. So you believe that the I am statements are where we should really do some deep reflection and spend a lot of time. and then from those statements, goals kind of sprout up from that foundation.
Yeah, I start to act different when I start to say that I'm a kind and compassionate person, or I am a mogul, so to speak. And it's also, we attach so much of our work to our identities. So
Right.
it's also being cautious with the I am. I am a designer, or I am a business owner. I am an executive. I was an executive for many years, 3 years. And then when that was, in a sense, when I left, I didn't have that identity anymore. That caused a serious identity crisis and spiraling into depression in a sense
Right.
because I had lost my identity. So when I attach my identity to the things that I do, I put myself at greater risk to lose my mind in a real
Right.
strong sense because I've lost my identity. So it's to be very cautious too about what we attach the I am to. Most people
Right.
walk around. I work with a lot of creatives. I love this topic with them because they're like, no, I am a designer. I am whatever their profession is. Well, what happens when you're not?
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Why?
can't see that world.
So why can that be? I find a lot of people do this, right? That when and also kind of as a society, we kind of encourage it. And, what is the first thing that we ask when we meet someone? What do you do?
What do you
We
do? Yeah.
identify other people with what they do for work. And so why is that a problematic path?
I go back and forth on this because I'm in business development. I'm constantly looking for deals. I'm constantly looking for opportunities. It just depends on the situation. Sometimes I really want to know like what you do because the way my mind works, I can create almost partnerships or opportunities out of thin air.
Right.
It's really fun. At the same time, it can be dehumanizing, and I don't enjoy it. It's also difficult for me because I do multiple things. So it's like, what do I do? Well, then work, life, like I have multiple interests.
Right.
So it just depends on the season I'm in if I enjoy that question or not. Right now, I'm in building business mode, so I do enjoy it because I'm looking for deals. So
Sure.
better questions might be, what are you working on right now? You want to
Yeah.
get straight to the core and freak someone out, like who are you? Who are you at your core?
Yeah. Yeah. That's super
Other
good.
other fun ones just for fun because I do this a lot. What made you smile today? What made you laugh today?
That's really good. That's really good. I think I came from the teaching space, and I'm still in it in education, and I think that people finding their identity in teaching is definitely a popular thing. People when people are teachers, they are teachers, and
So we talk
so
about this. We talk
yeah,
about this with teachers. I'm working with educational leaders and teachers right now. This is a big topic because when I say that I am a teacher, that means that I have authority over you. And when I have authority, because we think about like what are teachers, right? They're in control of the classroom. They
right.
hold all the knowledge. And when I'm a kid, I try to tell them because I was the rebellious kid. I don't want
Hmm.
anyone to have control over me. I don't respect your authority just because you're standing up there. So those identity statements can cause huge issues in the classroom, and they're experiencing them. A lot of the students rebel, they don't respect them. And most of the time, it comes because of that role. I am a teacher. So, what if I shift that? I'm a guide. What
Okay.
happens then? How do I change my communication? How do I change my mind? Change my identity, I can change my mindset. So little subtle shifts. The teacher one is it's a fascinating one. I've really enjoyed my time around these teachers.
Yeah.
Taught me a lot about myself.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I've got a few words here that I'm interested in their relationship with mastering your mindset. And the first word that I'm interested in your response for is ambition. How does ambition play into this conversation about mastering our mindset?
If you want to go far, master your mind. A lot of us
Yeah.
have very, very high ambitions. And the more and more I dive into the field of entrepreneurship or coaching or working with, like, we all have dreams. It's my favorite question to ask the students once I've earned their trust. It's like, what are your dreams? Some of them
Yeah.
want to be business owners, actresses, designers. And then we have a real conversation that the way to get there is to master your mind and your emotions. So I can only get so far. Oh, well, I don't know. Some people get really, really far without necessarily mastering their mind. Uh,
Right.
so who knows?
Yeah.
At the same time, though, they figured out a way to get what they want, and I would venture to imagine that's because they're hell bent on getting it, regardless if they how they impact others. So I think it always starts with your mind. Can you conjure up the image of what you want, and then wake up day after day to go get it? So ambition and mindset are close cousins or brother and sister.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Really good. The next word I have is this. It's actually two words. I guess it's a phrase, but decision making. How does decision making and mastering your mindset? How do they hold hands?
You want to make good decisions, you need to know how your mind works, what leads you to be able to make a good decision. So how much sleep did you get? Are you well fed, well rested? You exercised today? What time of day is it? How many decisions have I made today? Am I in a position to make a good decision? I worked in risk management for a handful of years and spent a lot of time in public safety. So the mindset is everything. We were often brought in to make really, really hard decisions because when you add stress, complexity, political dynamics, it's really, really hard to make a sound decision. So decision making and mindset are, again, really linked. So the ability to really take care of one's mind, to know what state they're in, is super, super, super important. Oftentimes we
Definitely.
make decisions without even thinking about like what is the criteria here, what what would be the best decision. I mean, we're just on autopilot so much of the day. So decision making is a whole field of study, which I love. And I don't think I've ever thought of it in the terms of mindset. So I appreciate the question.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that you bring up the different things that can impact our decision making, right? Am I hangry right now? Well, I probably shouldn't make a decision that's going to impact me long term. And so I think that some other external factors impact our decision making, and I think that another piece of what you just said is making sure that you're self aware in the sense of I know what is impacting me right now and can I make a good decision in that process?
So we looked at this too. So when I was in the cognitive psychology lab, we looked at how teams make decision under pressure. So I read everything under the sun. There's some really great research. Eduardo Salas is one of the leading teamwork and decision making researchers out there. Him and I think Scott Tenenbaum wrote this book called When Teams Work Best. One of the best teamwork books that probably no one will ever read. It collects like 25 years of teamwork research and it's applied research. They studied folks in the Army, in the Navy, people making decisions at corporations. It's an incredible resource. Anyway, we were creating experiments to see how people would make decisions when they were put under strenuous circumstances, and we used video games to do it. So one of the things that we looked at and noticed, well, one is like how time pressures affect decision making. So if you put like just set a timer for 3 minutes and tell yourself you've got 3 minutes to make this decision, you'll come to a decision really, really quickly.
Right.
There's also like sound dynamics. So there's all these things that affect our minds when it comes to making decisions. The other one too is social dynamics. Do you have good relationships with people around you? It actually affects how you make decisions when you're working with a team versus coming in and just getting straight to the point, like being task oriented. This is a lesson that I had to learn as a leader. I just wanted to make decisions. I didn't care about people's emotions or how they were doing. And what our research showed was that when you spend some time to get to know the folks around you, you can build that sense of safety. The researchers call it psychological safety. It's kind of a good buzzword. You actually make better decisions.
Yeah.
So sense of safety, which we don't talk about, mindset, as we're talking about it today, it sounds like a solo activity that you do. My mind wouldn't be where it is today without the solid people, the support system in my life who have taught me how to use it. So one thing about mindset is, do you have a trusted room of advisors, and can you lean on them? And then also for leaders, young leaders out there working in organizations, to take some time to get a sense of how people are feeling before making really, really big decisions. Don't throw away emotions, don't discount them, because they affect us on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
some added thoughts there on mindset and decision making.
That's really good. That's really good. I really like all of that. I'm a strong believer in having mentors or having a group of advisors is how you worded it. I love that. Having mentors is essential, and having mentors that are invested in your success is essential. A lot of people like to go out and find people that they don't know or don't have a vested interest in their success. And I challenge people to go look in your circle of people that are invested in you and your success, and really dive into that, and make them your mentor. Have communication.
I've got a tip on how to do that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Your listeners might enjoy. So if you find someone, the question that I get a lot from young people is, do I ask someone to be my mentor? And the short answer is no. It's a weird
No.
question for most people. Some people are honored. Most people are like, it's an informal process.
Right.
So if you find someone that you want to learn from, that you believe you can like really grow, and you can also provide some value or insight to them, ask them if you can meet with them once a month for 30 minutes.
Hmm. Really good.
People can picture how much time it's going to cost, versus if you can just ask to meet with them, they don't know what you're really asking for, and they might think that you're going to take up a tremendous amount of time. Most people in powerful positions want to give back, and if you couch the ask as once a month for 30 minutes, they can visualize that happening. So that's a great way to start a relationship and get on someone's calendar on a regular basis.
That's a really good tip. I really like that tip. And just to reinforce it, I've had several mentors throughout my adult life. They almost come in seasons. I keep in touch with all of them, but they play different roles in at different times of my life. And I think that it's interesting that you bring up, do you ask them? I didn't ask any of them to be my mentor. It just happened. It happened that way because of the frequency that I was meeting with them, the frequency that I was working with them, their interest or found interest in me and in my success. I think that it's interesting that that's reinforced, because I don't know if I would have known not to ask, but it
Yeah,
happened.
I sure they you kind of attract them like a magnet because of your love of learning, your curiosity. You have this charisma, and it seems like it just ebbs and flows with you as you work on projects. You kind of pull people that will guide you to help you accomplish your goals, in a sense, or to further your learning and personal development.
I love that. Thanks for noticing that. And so, as we're coming in to the end of the show, I would love to hear, what's that final piece of advice for somebody who is wanting to either start their journey of mastering their mindset, or currently in the process of mastering their mindset? What's that final piece of advice?
Find a way that works for you
Hmm.
to identify what you're thinking. The first step is awareness. It can be setting a reminder on the phone once a day, sometimes multiple times a day, with the question, what am I thinking right now? I would start small.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, I'll just give an anecdote. I was working with a kid. We were talking about habits. How do you establish new habits? And he was very, very quiet the whole class, and he was looking down. And the teacher said, "Do you have anything for Jonathan? I mean, you might not get this opportunity. He's here one day a week. What do you want to? What habit do you want to change?" He said, "Can you help me stop smoking weed?"
Oh,
I said,
wow.
I can sit down and try. I I like working with these kids because I smoked a lot of weed when I was in high school. So it's fun for me to um, relate to them on that level and teach them it's not going to take you anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
And so we walked through some strategies on what he can do instead of smoking weed. And really, what he was trying to avoid were the two emotions of mad and sad.
Okay.
It's like, hey, that's your emotional range right now, which is fine. So you need to identify like when you feel that way and then replace the activity of smoking weed with something else. And we listed out the activities that he liked to do: run, lift weights, be with friends. So I asked him, like, what's your dream? What's your goal? He said he wanted to play Division I football. Back in my mind, I'm like, there's no way this kid's gonna. It's like, how long do you have? He's a junior, so he's gonna be a senior next year. I'm looking at him. He doesn't look like he's gonna play Division I football. His teacher was a walk-on at LSU.
Okay.
So walked him over here. We laid out what he needed to do. There's a lot of work in front of him. He could walk on. Who knows? He could go to JUCO. That wasn't my role to shatter his dreams in that moment.
Right.
So I started to notice, again, he would not make eye contact. So it's like, your goal is a habit for you to establish and instill in this moment right now is just to make eye contact with every adult you see and every person you see and start shaking people's hands. From there, he can start to build other habits. The reason I'm telling this story is because you got to start small.
Yeah.
If I'm not, quote unquote, focused on mastering my mindset and I start tomorrow to try to meditate for 30 minutes, it's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
So can I set a timer for 30 minutes and just focus on taking a couple deep breaths? Can I just start looking people in the eye, shaking their hand? Can I just journal for 3 minutes? So oftentimes I catch myself, Travis, I'm crazy. When I work with an entrepreneur, business, I'm like, you better get it each day, every day. You've got to do your 10 hour, like you want to do this, right? You're like, you want to build a business. This is kind of my belief in what it takes. And I'm reminded time and time again that I often will overwhelm people. So now I'm scaling it back a little bit. So mastering your mindset is just mastering one habit at a time. And we're looking for what's the habit that's going to create the most leverage in one's life. So got to find what works for you and start really, really small. The first step, though, to be direct, is to start to bring awareness to what you're thinking in the moment. What am I thinking? What's going on in my mind? Oh, I'm panicked. Oh, I'm worried. Oh, I'm thinking I'm an idiot or a failure. Or I'm feeling pretty good about myself. So the tool, bring awareness to your thoughts. There's a million ways to do it. You can Google it, watch, I'm sure, your favorite influencer on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok.
Sure. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for that story and that final piece of advice. That was incredible. If people want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Just go to LinkedIn.
Okay. Awesome.
Message me on LinkedIn. We've got a good friend, former guest on your podcast, who's building me a website. Albert Suarez, big shout out to
Yes.
Albert Suarez Creative. If you need any design work, please message Albert. So LinkedIn's the place where you can find me, send me a message, and there'll be a website coming soon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, when it's ready, I'm happy to put your website in the show notes. And if you are listening today, thank you so much for listening. And remember, we're going to learn how to adult together. Thank you so much to Jonathan for coming on this show and helping us all learn how to adult. I hope you love Jonathan as much as I did, because I really learned a lot from him and really appreciated everything that he brought to the show. So to stay up to date on all things How to Adult, make sure that you follow at How to Adult TW on Instagram and Facebook. And remember, we're going to learn how to adult together. See you next time.